Well, today I'm going to show how to troubleshoot and replace a circuit board inside a Civacon ground unit. So I got a Civacon 8030 and it's supposed light. The red light's supposed to be on because, as you can see, I'm not connected to anything. Now in the winter time, these points inside the clamp can get packed up with ice and it can give a false ground, but everything's in good shape. The first time I had this happen on a Civacon, I just didn't want to start swapping parts and hoping to find it out, so I called technical support at Civacon and they told me to make sure to isolate this, which the Civacons can actually run quite a bit. They can do many functions. I'm using it in the most simple, the most basic way possible. So I'll just tell you what they told me, and that is they wanted me to take this, open up the cover, and then disconnect the inlet electrical supply going to the circuit board to see if that affects the lights or not. So I'm going to pause this, and then I'm going to take these are 10 millimeter, so I will remove them, and then you can just lift the cover right up. All right, there it is. I got that off. This thing just kind of tips up, stays out of the way. When it comes, if you ever want to remove this whole top, it just slides and then you just disconnect right here. This circuit board is held in place with 4 fine thread screws. There's 2 here, and this is the block we need to pull off. But I'll take these 2 off here real quick. So as you can see, I got my cord over here, go through the junction box, and then here's the 2 lead wires coming from that. The guy at Civacon told me, says you pull this block and that will 100% isolate it from the cord. Well, technically all I gotta do is get in the junction box and remove the 2 lead wires from here and it'll do the same thing. But even if the circuit board is bad, I still have to pull this. So it's in there. It's in there tight. There it is. I got it pulled loose. My light is still green. He said that is confirmation that you have a bad relay somewhere in that circuit board. And I said, okay, great. Now what do we do? He said you replace the circuit board unless you know somebody that has good electronics and they have the ability to troubleshoot it and replace a part. So nothing I can do. I don't know anybody that does it. So I said, where do I get a part? He said, well, he recommended a company called JM Enterprises out of Wisconsin. I'm going to put a link in the description of this video if you ever need to. And I thought, well, okay, great. So I looked it up. It's about $1,600 for the circuit board. So I called the company that I bought this from and I asked them to give me a price, and their price was $600 more. So I've been buying circuit boards as I need it from JM Enterprises. And so all I need to do now is I need to disconnect. I need to shut off my power coming to here. I've just got these 3 wires that are my power. I've already got this disconnected. This block, this junction block will connect right into my new circuit board. And then I have 2 more screws that hold this circuit board in place. Right there's one, and right down in the jumble of those wires is my other. So why they couldn't make this just a little bit bigger, give a fellow just another ½ an inch of room, I have no idea. And then when you pull this out, there's a ground wire that goes from the circuit board to the back of this box. And so I'll show you that. So I'm going to pause it, and then got a train coming, so I'm going to pause it, and I'll get back. Okay, here it is. I've got my wires disconnected. I disconnected this from the lights up here, and you just kind of got to wiggle it out. I usually pull this side out first and get it past this junction, and then there's my ground going into here, and there are your 4 standoffs that you've got to try to line these screws up with. And these 2 screws have a little backer here so that they're not going to come all the way out, and it can be a little difficult getting them all in there, getting them all to line up. But in one sense it's pretty simple, in another sense it's just, you just got to be patient. I guess it. Just got to be patient in how you put this together. So I'm going to remove this ground, and then I'm just going to go ahead and reinstall the new circuit board. All right, I've got it all back together. I got the 2 screws inside there, and then you have to push this cover on, you know, fairly tight to be able to get these 2 to bite, because they only go in like maybe 4 or 5 turns. So I've got my connection put back together. I do have a red light. Let's quickly check it. I'll quickly ground this. Yep, there we go. So I got that going again. The tools I used were a 10mm socket, a 5/16 socket for the ground on the inside, Phillips screwdriver, needle nose pliers, and then some dielectric grease. And on all of these anyway, I put a little dielectric grease around this O-ring, and then some dielectric grease down here in this connector. So I hope you found this helpful and informative. But at least if you ever run into it, you kind of have an idea what to troubleshoot for and how to replace it. So thank you.